So the next show we're going to be talking about is Yokai Apartment Life. And
Yes.
Yes.
And you watched the first episode of this one too?
Yes.
So, like, okay, this series is interesting in very different ways. Instead of taking the aspect kind of like of Centaur Life, where everyone's a monster and whatnot, it kind of goes a little bit more closely related to, I think, the previous Monster Girl anime I'd watched, where you have just a sprinkling of creatures or monsters or whatever inside of it. And very loosely based on that is what I would say, because basically what you end up going to is this boy. Who
looks like a man. I'm sorry, I thought they were adults.
He's wanting to go into high school. See, I thought he was college too, but he's wanting to go into a high school, but it's sort of like a businessy where it has dorms and stuff like that. And when he graduates and is about to go into it from middle school to high school, the dormitory burns down. He's been wanting to move out from his uncle's place, and I don't know why I did not connect the reason, thinking about the reason why he's living at his uncle's place, or did not explain that as far as him actually living with his uncle for a little while?
Yeah, they explained it with a short little burst. Basically, his parents died, and his uncle took him in.
But see, that's the thing. I didn't realize until later on when he moved into the other place that his parents had died. For some reason, I didn't connect that in my mind.
Yeah.
As far as that went. Because I'm not sure whether or not it's because they didn't necessarily explain right at first that he was actually living with his uncle.
Yeah, I thought that was his family, and they were jerks.
See that? Okay, so that wasn't just me. I was like, I thought that was his mom and dad and his sister or whatever, and that they were just, his sister was just being kind of jerkish to him.
Yeah, the weirdest thing, because it's like, you don't know why his family is are jerks to him and everything, and everybody looks at him like across the newspaper and stuff like that, where they only explain it when he finally moves out and puts down a picture, and he's like, "Ooh, who's that?" He's like,
it wasn't even a picture. Remember what happened is the girl, when he goes into, so basically he's trying to find a place to live in order to, because apparently the dormitory is going to be rebuilt in 6 months. He's trying to find a place to live. So nobody will take him for the amount of money he has available to him to be able to go into someplace. There ends up being where he's in the park and he's dejected, doesn't know what to do, and a boy comes up, and while he's not really looking, and says, "Hey, I know of a place. You can find out from over there," and points him in the direction of basically a real estate place or whatever. And then the boy just disappears. And I know the boy is, and it's interesting. But yeah, he ends up going into this place where he gets really good rate for it, but ends up finding out that this whole apartment complex houses, along with humans, yokai, monsters, ghosts, demons, all walks and natures of life and whatnot. But while you're doing it, so basically when it first sets it up, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is going to be a slice of life, essentially, because it's going to be about his daily life coping with the fact that he's living with monsters or whatever, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And I thought it was going to be, in that respect, comedic, because it kind of set itself up to be that way. It's kind of in a comedic sense kind of thing. But it took such a surprising turn. Now, you know of one of them. When I was saying one of them is because eventually when he moves to the dormitory, he's unpacking. And two of the human people who live there come to greet him and everything. And the girl starts helping him unpack. And it isn't until she opens something up that she stops. And it isn't until after she stops and it cuts away and you realize they're two plaques.
Yeah.
The signifying of the dead. And it's usually what in Japan, their culture of creating a shrine. It's what you pray to on kind of a daily or weekly basis or something like that. And that's when she realized, and that's when you realize, I think, as a viewer, that his parents had died, that he was living with his uncle. His uncle's daughter didn't appreciate the fact that he was there taking up space, taking money, taking time away from her. She's anyways, didn't like her as a character, but I think that was intentional as far as that goes. But I was like, okay, little bit of a dark thing going on here, but I still kind of gave it the benefit of the doubt as far as that goes. Until I watched the next episode. Or it was either the next episode or the episode after that. This gets dark. Because he comes across a boy in the beginning, I'm sure you saw him in the first episode. A boy and his dog.
Yeah, the boy and his dog.
You remember that?
Yeah, the boy and his dog was the one who showed him the apartment, and then they were also watching TV when he was walking around.
Well, you end up finding out, and I think you're gonna get like little snippets of stories here with this as you go along. You end up finding out that the boy is a ghost, because his history is quite. The mother apparently wanted to have him in order to keep her boyfriend and potentially marry. She has him, and boyfriend still leaves. She blames him for it, dejects him, and basically is just abusive towards him. The only friend that he ends up having is this dog. And at some point, the mother just becomes just absolutely crazy and actually starts beating the child and beats the child basically to death. Dog comes across, sees this, and actually attacks the lady, mortally wounding her, but not before the lady could actually basically beat the ever-loving crap out of the dog and basically kills the dog too. So now that's the reason why you have the boy and the dog together, companions with each other, but they're both dead, unfortunately. And it's because of the mother. And then the mother ended up dying, and she became basically a wandering spirit, and she tried to come after the boy, the ghost of the boy and the dog, but the dog, I guess, appeased to the dog gods, their wolf ancestors or whatever, and was taken to a shrine in order for protection. But in order for the child to still have some sort of contact and not just be surrounded by wolf beings or essentially whatever, that's why he was taken to the apartment complex. But every once in a while, the mother will still try to come back and take the boy. But there's a barrier set up around the apartment complex. But
so as long as he's there, he's fine? Or
as long as he's there, he's fine.
Okay.
But usually the wolf mother, essentially, that actually took him in to the shrine in the first place and then gave him to the apartment complex, will know ahead of time that she's going to come by. So when she'll stop by and basically stand guard and make sure nothing happens. That's so, like, to me, like, I had one way of thinking about this show and how it was going to go and how it was going to interact, and it just went like a completely different direction. I was just like, holy crap, this show came out of nowhere. And again, this is another one I think that a lot of people are kind of not paying too much attention to. Mm-hmm. And you know, from the first episode, you probably wouldn't necessarily think too much of it, to a certain extent. But beyond that, go 2 or 3 episodes into it, it will blow your mind. It definitely went beyond the expectations that I had originally thought of taking it as. Yeah,
and that kind of made me sad for a second. I was like, wow.
I was like, holy crap. And now I'm like, okay, everyone here has got to have a story or something going on with them.
Yeah.
And we might like be a part of that now as it's going along. And even the guy apparently has an innate ability. He actually has a psychic ability. Okay. And the longer he is there, the more it is developing. Okay. Because now he is pushing himself into that. And I won't go into detail about what happened with that because there was something specific that happened with that. So far, but yeah, it's just crazy. I highly recommend this, and it's going to be something that, you know, again, don't try you're going to think of it one way, it's going to throw you off guard a completely different way. It's so totally just off the wall and just wow.
There was one part where I thought I was going with the flow of the story, but they kind of changed it up on me when the girl that he met when he first moved into the apartment went to work at the hospital, and then when she came back, there was like a zombie following her, and she thought it would just go away, but then it kept like following her and actually got to the apartment. And at first, I thought it was another resident because the dude was freaking out, and I'm like, oh, he's just surprised at everything. And then she's like, man, you're still following me? And I thought should have been like, Paul, cut it out. You're being silly. But then she like just purified him and said he was evil. And I'm like, oh, there's actually a threat in this show? I thought it was like a slice of life comedy.
Yeah.
And now that you explain like what happened with the kid and everything, I'm like, Wow. So yeah, I may be checking the rest of this out.
Yeah, and then like even his at one point he was trying to keep his friends that he had made in school from the apartment complex because he was like, I don't want anyone else to be involved in this. I don't want to ask any questions. This is all too weird for me. I just keep that away. He ends up showing up with his buddies and starts causing a ruckus. And then the guys at the that were playing shogi, they stand up, and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, that dark room with only evil eyes you can see.
They started making enough of a ruckus that they stood up and were like, you need to leave. And it just freaked them the fuck
That is cool.
Yeah.
All right.
There is a lot of like the way you think of it in one way and it totally blindsides you in another. And like the more you look into it, the more you see that there is so much more lore and backstory involved with the creation of this complex, who these people are, where they come from, and just everything. And it just blows my mind, and I keep wanting to see more to find out. But again, there's another one where it's like the more you know, the more questions that come up, and you're like, okay, well, now why are they doing this? And then how did he do this? And where is this coming from? So
yeah.
All in all, yes, highly recommend this one.
Okay. Of course they're going to get attacked. People who have danger following them every single day, going to a peaceful village is never ever. Of course they're going to get attacked.
What's going on. I gotta see
People who have danger following them every single day, going to a peaceful village is never ever.